Okay, so starting from where I left off yesterday, speaking about the courts, my phone sucks, cuts me off all the time, and I never get to say everything that I want to say in one complete video without having to delete every app on my phone to create more space. Forgive the angle. I drove the truck today. It's pretty bare bones in here, and I don't really have anywhere to set the phone, so you're gonna have to look directly at me. Part 2. The court systems, I was saying yesterday, are biased, and I want to rephrase what I said in one instance because I said that they are biased towards women, meaning that they're biased in favor of women. So, to correct myself, after reviewing it, I noticed that I said that, and I wanted to clear that up. They are biased um, towards women, meaning they favor women, they favor mothers. Now, obviously, that's often debated, but in my experience, that was my experience. The few times that I went to court, I was often told not to speak. I was often told, honestly, one time, the first time I was in court, I was about 19, and the judge said, um, will the defendant please stand? I stood and he said, if you don't let this girl have her daughter, um, I will XYZ. Um, I wasn't keeping the child from her mother, but um, the judge didn't care to hear that. And when I tried to express myself, he cut me off and made another threat. So they're just very biased. Very biased. I kind of got a lot of what I wanted to say about the courts in a short term um, video out yesterday because there isn't a whole lot more to say. I mean, they're just really extremely biased in favor of mothers. Like, it's not very often that custody will be taken from a mother and given to the father. And I don't necessarily believe that it should. I think that it should be a healthy balance, but I want to emphasize the word healthy. It should be a healthy balance. If the child is not healthy in the care of either parent, the child shouldn't be in the care. Um, and I mean, you can get into um, organizations like CYS or CPS, and they're worthless. They're useless. Meaning my wife and I, had neighbors at one point that were literally shitting in buckets. The kids were shitting and pissing in buckets in the apartment below us. And CYS was there every other day or every few days witnessing it and not doing anything because they are mostly democratically funded organizations, as far as I'm aware, and it's just a way for the state to funnel money into the pockets of extremely powerful, wealthy people. It's not really about children. It's not about protecting families. It's not about family rights or child rights. It's about just another way for them to stuff their wallets because they're granted so much money every year to put towards things like that. And say they're given, and this is a very small number because this is X amount times more that they'd actually be given. But say they're given $10 million, they might give $2 million to CYS or CPS. The other 8 just goes missing. Or the other 8, rather than just going missing, it goes into programs that are never truly utilized, or programs that are basically just this smoke and mirror show to funnel the money into the pockets or into donations for more Democrat leaders. Like, it's to get down to it, it's really just a big racket. Um, the government has become just a giant racket, and you can see that with the federal government too. And I don't mean to get off on a tangent about politics, but you can see that in the Ukrainian war. Um, you know, the Ukrainian war was going on when Obama was in office. When Trump got in office, the war stopped. There was no war anymore. There was no need to, because we had oil here. We didn't need Russian oil. We didn't need their shit. So Trump went into office. He put a stop to it, and you can make whatever argument you want for that, but the fact is that we were more energy dependent during Obama and during Biden than we were with Trump. But so in Biden's Obama's terms, Ukrainian war was ongoing. Trump got in, it was over, ended. Biden gets in, and what happens? All of a sudden, there's a conflict in Ukraine, and we need to funnel money over there. We need to funnel taxpayer money over there. Now, I don't know how you feel about it, but don't you think that the tax money should be utilized in different ways in our country? I don't really believe that tax money should ever be spent. Ever. I don't really think that there is any legitimate reason, and maybe it's just fleeting to me right at this moment, but I can't think of a single thing that I would want tax money that I pay to my government to care for its citizens to go overseas, anywhere exiting the country, at any time. That's just me at this point. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something, but tax money should be for citizens. Should be to care for citizens. I mean, there's plenty of low-income neighborhoods that could use that money, and that's me saying that. After the statement that I just made about Democrat-funded smoke and mirror shows with social programs, you know, the whole entire thing needs to be reconstructed. And along with that, to get back to the original point of this video, the court system makes sense. It's the leaders, the seat holders that corrupt it, right? Because the fact is, men are more likely truly on a data-driven, and I'm going to say a data-driven assumption, and you can check the numbers on this because I don't have them. Men are more likely to go out and work, whether they have kids or not have kids. But especially single fathers are more likely to go out and work than they are to sit at home and collect welfare. So what does the state do? Well, when a father and a mother are fighting over custody of the child, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to take custody from the father. They're going to give it to the child, to the mother of the child, and the mother of the child is going to then collect money from the father who's working, take his money. The courts will take his money and award it to the mother for doing absolutely fucking nothing to prove that she's actually using the money for the child. And that mother is going to sit at home on welfare in some way, shape, or form, whether it be food stamps, whether it be Medicare, whether it be whatever. Fill in the blank. She's going to be on a welfare program, which then that's another number on the books for them to say, this is how many people we have on our welfare program, and this is how much money we need to care for that. And there goes all that tax money in there. So it's a giant fucking racket, and it's corrupt. It's corrupt. And it's been corrupted for a long, long time. And you see this even as far back as in since the creation of the welfare state. And the welfare state is based in racist rhetoric that I believe it was Lyndon B. Johnson started. And It's been racist since its inception. It's going to continue to be racist. It's going to continue to be sexist. It's going to continue to favor women because of the fact that I just stated. And it's going to continue to favor African Americans or minorities because in these low income areas, you are far more likely to have a child out of wedlock, which means you're far more likely to commit crime, which means you're far more likely to end up somewhere in a court system somewhere, which is just lending more money back into the racket, back into the system, back into all of these shit programs that do absolutely no good for anybody. When truly what we need is education and prevention. So, I kind of lost my train of thought there. But so, yeah, so they're going to take money from the father, they're going to give it to the mother. That mother is then going to be on welfare, which is going to be another number, like I said, that they can say, this is how many people we have on the books that need help and assistance, whether it be food stamps or health or whatever, and we need this much tax money from the federal government to supply that to the people, and then a large percentage of that money goes into the pockets of the people who sit in power. And they funnel it through programs that never come to fruition. They're basically ideas of programs that they say that they're, committing to, and then they never commit to, and the money is just never really registered as going anywhere, because the American public, especially now, we have so much going on all the time, so much in our faces that we don't pay attention. We don't pay attention. We can't pay attention. Even myself right now, my wife and I just bought a little trailer, and just getting the money for that little trailer was goddamn impossible. I had to borrow it from a family member, and I'm paying them back because there's just almost no way to make sense of the overall racket that society has become. They want you to work every day, all day, for as minimum as possible, for the bare bones of what you truly deserve and what would truly make you happy. The last thing that they want is somebody that is free-willed and free-thinking, which is why you see the giant cut down on small business, which is why you see the leftist rhetoric against the leftist rhetoric against freedom, especially, but I mean freedom of speech, or the leftist backing of like COVID policies. It shut down these small businesses and shut down these entrepreneurs that actually want to make something for themselves and not just feed off of the hand of the government. So I kind of went on a tangent there, but I think you're getting what I'm trying to say. The court system is all tied up in that entire fraud. It's a big fraud. And the best thing that you can do, honestly, is to just do your best to not worry about it. The court system will be the court system, and you will get the outcome that you get. You just need to act as an adult and act responsibly. As much as you might dislike the person that you ended up having a child with, none of that matters anymore. The only thing that does matter is that child, and ensuring the best possible outcome for the child, which, as a father, speaking as a father, sometimes might be extremely painful to say, but you might not be prepared enough to be in that child's life the way that you want to be. If the child is better off with the mother because she is more responsible and is actually working, or is actually a homeowner, or whatever the case, or you know, um, you need to accept that, and you need to behave responsibly and as an adult and admit that. And if you truly want to change that, then change it. But the only person that can do that is you. So um, accept what the courts do, because the courts are going to be the courts. And you're kind of dealt a shit hand walking in there. But feeding from the court's hand isn't going to benefit you, which is what I was saying yesterday about, or on the previous video about, don't take state representation. Those people will not assist you in any way. You're not going to benefit from that. You might luck out. I was lucky with one instance where my state appointed attorney actually cared. And that was only because he was a young attorney, which I still am in contact with him every once in a while, because he truly cared, and couldn't find a sense at all in what was going on with my family at the time. He truly had no idea what to do or why what was happening, other than basically admitting that it was corrupt, and basically stating that it's corrupted. I had to put those pieces together myself, but that admission helped me to do that. So you want to represent yourself, you want to document everything, and you want to first and foremost think of the child and not your petty feelings and emotions in whatever instance you're in or whatever situation you're in that moment. Because it's not going to benefit you, and it's not going to benefit the child, and the child is what matters the most. I am in that situation now, which I'll briefly go over. My oldest daughter is 11, and after 2 years of not seeing her, being the main parent in her life for 10 years, not seeing her for 2 years because of court intervention and a big web of lies, she came back and was not the same little girl that left. Didn't want to come anymore, didn't want to be around me anymore, so I had to give her the option, which was not what her mother wanted. I had to give her the option and swallow my pride to say, you don't have to come if you don't want to, and I'm not going to force you to come, because I don't believe that it's right for me to force you to do something, because I know that the truth will come out at some point. You might be 30 years old, but one day the truth will come out about everything and you'll be able to see through everything. But right now, you're just too young to understand, but old enough to make a decision on if you want to see me or not. So I had to make that call. And you might have to do that. And it might not be when your kid is 10 years old. It might not be when your kid is 4 years old. It might be the moment, it might be in the hardest moment of your life that you got to realize that. But it doesn't mean that you just give up and stop working on it, because admitting that you might not be the best option for that child right now does not surrender all responsibility for you. Your responsibility is still valid, and your responsibility is still there, and you wake up with it and you go to sleep with it every night, and you need to feel your own self with that understanding every day. and you need to make sure that you go to sleep thinking about how tomorrow you're going to be better than you were today, because the day that that child does come back, or the day that that child that you can be there for that child, you're there, and you're there in your best form possible. So I think that's my break. I gotta go. We will talk more about this another time. I appreciate you guys watching.